Hey YouTube, what is going on? The new Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 tier changes for the month of December have been released. So, a few of these though, you may have missed, may have not, doesn't really matter, but I will talk about some of the recent changes. But as you can see, many Pokemon on the screen. I will go into detail for most, but not PU because it's not necessarily a tier. But anyways, we'll jump right into it. So, first off, we have an Uber change, and that is Genesect being moved up from OU to Uber. And the reason for the movement, a huge amount of usage. Genesect was basically on well over a quarter of the teams, if not more, because this was an amazing Pokemon, usable on any team, literally any team. Whether it was rain, you could use thunder, amazing with U-turn, download could do so much for it. Whether it wanted to hit harder with U-turn, or fire off a couple of strong bug buzzes, or thunderbolts, or flamethrowers, ice beams, whatever. And as far as we are concerned, it was one of the best choice scarfers ever, pretty much, because it could do so much. If it didn't like where it was, U-turn, it could attract Heatran, U-turn. Dugtrio with Genesect was amazing because it could trap it and go for the Earthquake. Very, very solid Pokemon, but that is Genesect. Now we're moving on to the OU changes, and I'm sure you heard about this. Garchomp has been moved down, look for my printer, from Uber to OU. Reason for movement? Sandveil was banned, so no more Sandveil, this and that. So the fact that it's out means that rough skin Garchomp is easily an option, and that is the same reason why Gliscor is no longer using its Swords Dance Sandveil set, because Sandveil has been banned. And it was very strong, it still is, of course, in the Uber tier, but it just really wasn't used that often, which is another reason why it dropped. And lastly, it's still a threat no matter what. Not so much in the Uber tier, it can be, but with the lack of Sandveil, it's not as strong in the Uber tier, but it's still easily, like I said, a threat and should not be underestimated. Next, Black Kyurem has been moved down from the Uber tier down to OU. First reason, of course, its limited physical move pool. As far as its stabs are concerned, only Outrage and Dragon Claw really are usable. It can also use, I believe, Freeze Shock is what it's called, but it takes 2 turns to use, and you have to waste an item if you want to use it in 1 turn. So, I mean, that's kind of a letdown. A mixed set is still a great option. But another reason, Stealth Rock weakness does hinder it, and White Kyurem, of course, does have this problem, along with Scizor and its Choice Banded Bullet Punches, but the reason that this is a big deal is because it, like I said, it just doesn't have the wide move pool that White Kyurem does. Lastly, it just wasn't used that often. Like I said, it's still a very, very strong Pokemon. Base 170 attack is huge, and base 120 special attack is still very, very large, so not anything to be, underestimating. But next we have a BL change. I'm sure you know about this. Gothitelle has been moved up from RU all the way up to BL. A very, very, very simple reason. Shadow Tag. Now, if you're not aware what this ability does, it basically traps, just like kind of like Magnet Pull with Steel types or Arena Trap. But for every single Pokemon, no matter if they're flying or not Steel, it'll trap the Pokemon when you send in Gothitelle, and it can't escape. So a very viable set is the Choice Spec set. Calm Mind, not so much, but a Choice Spec set is easily a great set for this. And it's actually a very versatile trapper, because as far as Magnezone's concerned, its main job is to eliminate Steel types. As far as Dugtrio is concerned, same type of thing, but it can really eliminate Heatran easily. But yeah, it's also a great revenge killer, Dugtrio. But I mean, Gothitelle's very versatile, especially with its move pool. That's definitely one thing that's got going for it over the other trappers in the OU tier. Next, we have the UU changes, and some are somewhat upset because Chansey has been moved down from the OU tier to UU. And one reason, Blissey with Leftovers is honestly better in most aspects. As far as physically defense goes with the Eviolite, that's not so much the case. Neutral hits, Chansey can typically take much better than Blissey because of Eviolite. However, There is BL speculation, and it's somewhat guaranteed, don't quote me on that it's just going to go BL, because in the UU tier, it'll definitely take hits like a monster. But in the same token too, Bianxiao, very, very strong fighting type. There's plenty in the UU tier that can easily smash Chansey with their stabs, so it's not like it's going to be staying there for long. Next up, we have Abomasnow being moved down from OU to UU. One reason, not really enough use. Hail wasn't really a big deal. It's a solid weather, but not a ton of people like using it, especially with the addition, of course, of Drizzle being in the OU tier with Politoed, and even Sand gets a lot of use. But also, Hail is no longer banned in UU, so it definitely opens up a few options here and there if you really want to use it. Go right ahead. New Abomasnow. So the reasons are kind of short for these first two. Next up, we have Mew. Another short reason. Not enough use. Just flat out, not really enough use. Very, very versatile still, no matter what, but it's not really getting used that often. Next, these are the biggest changes, in my opinion, that happened. Cinccino has been moved up from NU to RU. I am extremely happy about this, because this Pokemon gave me so much trouble. No matter what my team's, how my team was made, I always had problems with this. Number one reason it was moved up, Skill Link. It's Dream World ability. If you don't know what it does, basically any move that hits multiple times, a maximum of 5 times, will hit 5 times. So moves like Bullet Seed, Tail Slap, Rock Blast will all hit 5 times. And with a Life Orb or a Choice Band, it'll still be doing a ton of damage. And it does have a decent move pool, just like I said. Tail Slap for stab, Rock Blast for flying types and whatever else, fire types, Bullet Seed for maybe War Turtle. And it also gets U-turn, so if you're not liking where the position you're in, U-turn out. And also it can be difficult to switch into, because even if you do resist the hit, getting hit 5 times with a Life Orbed attack, it's not exactly something you want to be getting hit with, especially with hazards up. Next, and this is another big addition, Amoonguss has been moved up from NU to RU. First reason, of course, Regenerator. I believe it's Dream World ability, and with the combination of Spore. You can put something to sleep, even if you really can't take too many hits from what you just put to sleep. You can switch out, gain 33% of your HP back, and put something in that may possibly be able to set up. Very good combination. Has many resistances that are useful, such as fighting and electric and water. And lastly, setting up is difficult, because not only Spore, but also one of its stab moves that's somewhat common is Clear Smog. You can eliminate any stat boost at all. Now, one thing I did hear, and you probably would mention in the comments, is that there was a team that had spammed Amoonguss, and I don't know if that's 100% true, but we're just going to keep going on with this. So, Snover moved up from quote-unquote PU, because it's not recognized 100% yet by Smogon, but moved up from PU to RU. Reasons for movement: Snow is no longer, Hail is no longer banned in UU, which is why it's basically outclassed by Abomasnow, because fully evolved, this and that. But it's also no longer banned in RU as well, so that also opens up many options for Snover to be able to be used. And with a Violite, Snover does have some passable defenses, so that's good for Snover as well. And next, we're moving on to Absol being moved from NU to RU. This is not really expected. It's not a huge deal for most, but Absol is still a huge threat, because it is a solid Swords Dance sweeper with one of the best priority moves in the game in the form of Sucker Punch. And it being stabbed isn't at all a bad thing for it. And it has a massive move pool, one of the largest in the game outside of, legendaries here and there, and Smeargle, of course. But it does have a huge move pool. If you don't believe me, look it up on Cerebi or Smogon. It has a lot of things it can do. And next, just like spammed with Amoonguss, I also heard Emboar was spammed. I don't know if that's 100% true. But anyways, Emboar has been moved up from NU to RU, which is also a big deal. Reason? It is a very good choice band user. Similar to Cinccino, even if you do resist whatever hit it's going to be dishing out, whether it be Superpower, Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, Earthquake, you're still going to be taking a lot because it does have a large attack stat. Next, it does have a decent move pool. If you want to go mixed, which I've seen a couple people do, you can definitely do it. It has a decent special attack. It's usable. And it is somewhat bulky. Well, it's not very fast. It does have very high base HP for a sweeper, basically, and its defenses aren't too bad. And next, we have the NU changes. Stoutland has been moved down from RU to UU. Similar case with many of the new UU additions. Not enough use. It just really was not used at all in RU. And one of the main reasons because of that is because without the ability Sandstream, Sand being banned from UU, it really hinders its ability. It can, of course, still be used in OU, no problem, but the absence of Sand really hinders what it can do, and that is very unfortunate for Stoutland. Next, we have Roselia being moved down from RU to NU. First reason, not enough use. Once again, it just wasn't used that often. Also, it was outclassed by Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen could do exactly what it did with a little bit better speed, a little bit better move pool, and it could absorb Toxic Spikes just like Roselia can. But this is also a solid addition to the NU tier, seeing as how Amoonguss is going to become RU. So now Roselia, in a way, takes the place because it can still set up Toxic Spikes, put things to sleep. Still pretty solid addition into the NU tier. And also, many physical threats can deal with it, and there are several of them in the RU tier. So, Roselia didn't really get too many opportunities to really shine and show its true potential. And next, we have many additions to the NU tier from the quote-unquote PU tier in the form of Marowak, Electabuzz, Ditto, Zangoose, Liepard, Electrode, Jumpluff, Rotom, Frost, Tangela, Seismitoad, Glaceon, and Electros. I'm not really going to go into any kind of detail with these because, once again, PU is not a recognized tier. And lastly, PU, quote-unquote, changes, moved down from NU to PU. Torterra, Superior, Camerupt, and Rapidash. So, that's a thing. But I would like to thank all of you for watching this video. These were all just my opinions based on why things were shifted around the way they were. I'd like to hear what you guys think about the changes. What do you think? Was something incorrect? Do you think something should be moved back down? Do you think something should really be moved up? Let me know. But as always, thank you all for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I will see you all later.